Let me set this up.
Yeah.
So Pebble, we talked about them on the show.
Pebble, the watch,
the smartwatch,
Kickstarter watch.
Yes.
They obviously blew past their funding goals.
Jammed past
Actually,
it.
to be clear,
They wanted to sell 1,000 of these watches.
They sold
85,000. They've hit over $10 million.
$10 million US dollars.
So they're sold out. They're all done. They sold. I think
they still have 8 days to go, and
they still have 8 days to go, but
they cut it off.
they're done. They can't make any more money.
85,000
85,420
sold before
promised.
anything is actually. What do you? Why
Who
are
we
you doing?
talking
They're
to?
online too. Okay.
Okay.
Huh?
Eric is online too.
Eric from Pebble.
Eric Pebble.
Eric Pebble.
Eric P.
All right,
Ebel.
let's just get him on the line.
Yeah.
This is cool, kind of an exclusive conversation. Eric, you're on the line. Can you hear us?
Hi.
What's
Hey, man.
up?
How are you? Now, how many bottles of champagne have you had today? I want to get a gauge of how much you've been drinking since discovering that you.
My level today, I've been eating right next to my desk is a empty bag of dried mangoes. That's what I've been shouting down.
No, those
Is
are
that
good.
a-
those are delicious.
Is that those get you high or?
Yeah.
No, just the right amount.
Okay.
Hey, so let me ask you, why did you cut this off? It seems like you could have just kept going forever.
You're already past 85,000 by
Yeah.
a sizable number.
So one of the big concerns for us was being able to source enough components in the short term to complete the build on schedule. And so we really, in the interest of like delivering the absolute best product to our Kickstarter backers, we decided to cut off the rewards at the moment.
I'm assuming since you can still like donate $1 or $2 here now, you just don't
Yeah.
get the watch. Are you still getting donations today, like decent amount?
Yeah, I think there were a couple hundred people that have sort of put down $1 to keep on track. But I mean, we are committed to selling more Pebbles in the future. So, for example, as soon as Kickstarter closes, we're going to put up a little page that lets people sort of get in line to buy one of the first Pebbles when they are available after Kickstarter.
So what's the okay? So you've got $10 million. Now you don't. Do you have them? You don't actually have the money yet. This thing has to close.
Nope.
And
no,
when
we've the project closes on the 18th.
Okay.
And that's when people's credit cards will be sort of processed against that.
And so explain to me.
I think we received the transaction.
So explain to me how this works. So you have literally. I'm not trying to be rude. I just want to understand what happens. You now have $10 million in credit card transactions that will be what will happen on this date. Kickstarter will charge.
It'll go from 0 to 10 million.
And a bank account somewhere will suddenly have $10 million in it.
It's actually an Amazon payments account since Kickstarter has partnered with Amazon to process all their credit card transactions.
But you will have access to $10 million when this thing closes.
Yes, our company will.
Yeah. No, you personally.
You're not going to like.
I mean, how much of this is just your party budget?
You're going to finally close out your Prime, all your Prime items that you've been trying to. You're like your wish list.
Right. I think I should check to see if it's now going to be like I can just spend a lot of money on Amazon or whether I actually get.
You get the money. Yeah.
So I have some questions for you about the watch. I'm really curious. I'm a smartwatch fanboy. I have been, and this is. I think the reason this is caught on is because it has a lot of the pieces that people have wanted in a device. So the first one is just, can you talk to us about how it actually works with iOS? Because that seems to be the thing that has made this one really interesting, right?
Yep. So I think there's some things I can't really talk about too much until we've gone through the final stages of the process. But in briefly, we're following the MFI guidelines, made for iPhone guidelines, and I think one of the things that we've done differently is we've used a couple different Bluetooth profiles. So in order to get phone call notification on the watch, we're actually using the HFP profile of Bluetooth. So that's the headset profile.
Okay.
And we've done extensive testing to show that you can connect to an iPhone with Pebble as well as another headset. So you can still get caller ID information using Pebble.
Oh, that's interesting.
Wait, let me just paint this picture. So you have an iPhone, you've got a Bluetooth headset in your ear, and you've got a smartwatch.
And they're both connected.
You get a call, then you answer it with your watch, and then begin talking.
Is that correct, Eric? Is that right? So you get a call, you're notified on the watch, you can answer it on the watch, and it bounces it to the headset.
But you can't answer it like there's no speaker or microphone on the watch.
No. I know that, but
but
you take action on the call, and then it bounces the call to the headset, essentially.
Right now, we have the caller ID showing up on the watch.
Oh, so you can't take action on it.
It's possible that we may add that in. We can't guarantee it right now.
Okay. Have you worked with Apple on this at all? I mean, has there been any? You probably can't talk about it even if you did, but I just wonder if there's been any conversation with anybody there in terms of how you might.
For example, what I just described is a plain Bluetooth spec thing.
Right.
We're also using another thing that we've done that other people haven't done is used AVRCP, the audiovisual remote control profile, to be able to control music on either iPhone or Android.
So these are the profiles you're using. They're not some sort of custom spec. These are like standard. Anybody could tap into this. It's just that nobody seems to have done it or done it
correctly,
done it well.
And then there's a provision where your app gets to run in the background because it's connected to the watch, right?
Correct.
So that's really interesting. How did you kind of negotiate that? Is that going to kill battery life?
That's not a negotiate. That's another. That's something that came around with iOS 5.
Okay.
So up until iOS 5, with iOS 4, there were some provisions for doing backgrounding if you ran streaming music like Spotify, or if you did location-aware apps like Foursquare or something like that.
Yep.
But there was no exception or background exemption for hardware up until iOS 5.
But they run these as discrete processes, right? I mean, they're kind of, you're not actually backgrounding the entire app. You're backgrounding this.
No, it's not actually backgrounding the app. There's some crazy stuff that's going on in the OS, but
right.
Yeah.
Okay. And so this is you'll be tapping into that to keep a constant connection.
Yeah. Yeah.
And is there a battery life concern? Is there? I mean, what kind of what does that put on the phone side?
No, not in particular. I mean, we haven't released precise numbers, but we haven't seen that.
Is it the equivalent to, say, when I'm in my car, and my phone is connected, obviously via Bluetooth? I mean, similar connection, like in terms of battery life concerns.
Probably a little bit less because with a car kit, especially when you're making calls, that's a constant Bluetooth connection.
Right.
Right. Ours is very intermittent.
And you're not actually utilizing the watch for the call. So
right. And then the other big piece of news you just had was you upgraded the phone. By the way, I keep calling it a phone.
That's
so
part of my
not a phone.
You should. It's Ross's fault.
It's a watch.
You should make a phone next. Just collapse them all. No. So you just upgraded to Bluetooth 4.0, which was actually the very first. When I first saw the watch, I was like, "But why isn't it Bluetooth 4.0?" And then so you kind of made my day there. What are you expecting to kind of...
I think it was a matter of so when we started off the Kickstarter project, we were estimating that we were going to be able to manufacture, 1,000 watches if we raised $100,000. And so we obviously had a plan and a path for larger amounts of manufacturing, and that's what we're pursuing right now. But at the end of the day, we were just, really hardcore focused on making watches. So we wanted to bite off what we could chew. And that's why we targeted 2.1 plus EDR to start with.
Right, because that was available.
So I have a question. Was the response bigger than you expected? I mean, it seems like it was way bigger than you expected. I'd like to know, was it, and why?
Yeah, how are you kind of dealing with it?
What do you think the cause of it was? Like, what is it that you did, or what is it about your product that you think is? I mean, what have you heard from people? They were like, I've got to buy into this. Like, can you communicate that? Can you tell me that?
Yeah, I mean, we're still in the process of figuring it out because that's going to be a pretty valuable insight to figure out. From what I've heard, I mean, just talking about, parents and my relatives, like this is the first product that I've created that really sort of lit up my aunt's eyes or something like that. And that's really cool. That means that we're sort of reaching beyond our comfort zone, which is the tech and the geek and the gadget guys, and, crossing over into more mainstream iPhone users, Android users, and so what I've heard from basically my relatives or some of the people that I've been talking to the most, they like the idea of customizing their watch, being able to download a different watch face and run it on your watch. And I think that's pretty cool.
I mean, how complex can you get with this? I mean, this is an e-ink display, right?
Or it's e-paper. Is it
e-paper.
e-ink specifically?
E-paper, sorry. Is it e-ink?
Yeah, is it e-ink or is it e-paper? Is it because e-ink is a brand,
e-ink
right?
It's a brand.
E-ink is a brand name. Yeah.
So it's e-paper.
And what are you doing in terms of levels of gray? I mean, how detailed can you get? What's the I guess there's no.
It's just black and white at the moment.
Oh, it is. Okay. And so third party faces, is that a thing that you may do?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so you might get like Bell and Ross or somebody to do a custom. I'm
Yeah,
serious.
You mean custom design? We're starting with just anyone who wants to make one can start
Right.
writing a watch face.
I was thinking you could do like Swatch could be a partner. They could do funky.
Yeah, have you talked to any watch companies? I
Yeah,
mean,
have you would
is
think
Fossil like, damn it, we've been trying to do this for 20 years.
You would think that, yeah, would have legit, like already established watch companies reached out and said, I don't know why I'm saying legit a lot on this show.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
It's like
It's Super 94 up
MC
in here.
Hammer. Have watch companies reached out to you guys? Have you gotten people sniffing around now going, hey, we want this technology?
Not yet, but I'm sure once they do, we'd be happy to chat.
Yeah. Would you consider licensing this technology for other devices, other watches?
We haven't really nailed down, that kind of future stuff. We're really, at the moment, just focused on getting these out there for our Kickstarter.
Yeah. So what exactly is next for you? So is the design finished? Or are you just waiting to buy the parts?
Do you buy the parts?
How do you buy the parts?
Wait, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
So we're placing large component orders, getting everything lined up for starting production later this summer.
So actually, I have kind of two questions. One's like kind of minor, and one's bigger. And I think the bigger one's really interesting. So you start out saying we want to make 1,000 watches. We want to prove the model. We want to show people that we can do this. That there's a way to make a better watch. And then you ended up with $10 million and 85,000 orders. What changed over the course? I mean, how did you react to the first explosion? And then how did you react to kind of, okay, now we have to do this for real?
I mean, when you're talking about 1,000 devices, that's a boutique, right? Order.
That's a proof of concept.
I mean, that's a very small run. When you get up to what you're at now, you must have had to scale up. I mean, the infrastructure to produce 85,000 versus 1,000 has got to be somewhat different.
So we actually, when we started working on Pebble's our second watch. We worked on Impulse, the BlackBerry smartwatch, for a while. We had designed right after iOS 5 hit last summer. We started designing Pebble, working with this new display that we had sourced. We'd lined up a manufacturer. We had lined up a whole team for making sort of a large scale product. But we just didn't have the capital to be able to support that. We had attempted to raise venture capital from the VCs, and we weren't able to get any sort of traction in the venture capital market. So we had this great plan and we had this great product. We just had no cash to be able to pull it off. So we scaled back our dreams. We said, okay, maybe we had this great sort of watch that we wanted to design. What's a subset of that? What could we launch on a finite amount of money? And that's what we came up with our, with Pebble.
Really. So you scaled back. This started as a different watch, is what you're saying.
It didn't. No. Sorry. The watch is the same watch, but we scaled our manufacturing plans back.
Oh, okay. So it's you weren't like, we want to do this crazy watch, but we can do half the features.
So do you feel kind of vindicated that all these VCs turned you down, and now you've gone to the people?
To be honest, I'm just really happy that I get to make Pebble.
Right.
I would have hated. I mean, I wouldn't have given up. We would have figured out how to get it, out there somehow. But it probably would have ended up with just me making more watches in our garage.
So
our first generation.
So the 18th is when you close, right? When the Kickstarter project closes. What is the very first thing that happens after that? I'm just curious to know, literally.
What's the process?
Literally, you have the money, right? You've obviously got the plans for the watch. I assume you've got your suppliers in place. So, what is the very first thing you do? You have the money. How do you start what's the first domino?
The very first thing actually happened about 4 weeks ago. So the day after we opened Kickstarter and the first Engadget article hit, it sort of exploded, and we made
Engadget, huh?
We flipped the switch.
Real rag.
Switch that day.
Engadget, you say?
Oh, it's fine.
Interesting.
So I'm sure you've heard of them.
I've heard of them. They sound familiar. And so then the next thing is you get the money, and are you writing a check to a supplier? Is that the next thing? Do you have to fly? Do you have to go?
We're writing a lot of different checks, but no. So for example, we phoned up our contract manufacturer, the day after Kickstarter started, and we were like, well, we're going to order a lot more watches than we thought. So that's been in the works for 4 weeks.
Wow.
The thing for sure that's going to happen at the end of May is I'm going to sign several very large checks for long lead time components.
Interesting. Hello, Eric?
Yeah, did we?
Hi.
Hey.
Oh, sorry.
And these are all sold.
Yeah.
That's the nice thing. It's not like you're like, hey, we're going to make 85,000 watches and we don't know what we're going to do with them. I mean, these are so explain to me how that works. Is this the watches are manufactured overseas, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then are they just being shipped directly to the customers?
We're not 100% sure how the logistics will work out, but we'll probably figure out what's the best way to get them out to people all over the world.
And following the 85,000 that you've now sold, right? They're all spoken for, correct?
Correct.
So beyond that, are you planning on ramping to getting?
Are you gonna go to stores? Are you
gonna distribute these? Are you gonna talk to distributors? Are you gonna try to put them in Apple stores or Best Buy, or what's the plan beyond the Kickstarter people?
Well, we're building it for production, so like the production setup that we'll have to make the Kickstarter batch will be the same factory, the same setup that we could use to make more watches if we choose.
So what's the ramp between filling out the Kickstarter orders and then selling it to the public?
Yeah,
I think a lot of people are curious.
I think the major thing is the holidays, and we're shipping, in September, and we're just, the Kickstarter backers are the premier people, so they get the watch before anyone else. And if we're able to make more watches before Christmas, that's cool. But I'm not as worried about that as much as just making sure that our Kickstarter backers are as happy as possible.
And it's too late now. I can't get one.
You're done.
Or can we get one for?
So you didn't back it?
Well, I did.
You did, right?
I was going to back it today.
So
and then
now
I just saw the,
you're going to hate my guts.
hate myself.
You're going to hate me, Eric. But I'm a big fan of analog watches. I actually don't really like digital watches at all.
Well, there's an analog face.
No, I know that. What I want is a watch. This is my dream watch. Maybe you'll make it for me. I want a watch. Do you remember the Motorola Aura phone that had the circular display
on the front? Yeah.
So what I want is a watch that looks like a regular, like a classic watch, but the display is a circular digital display. And it looks like a regular watch until you swipe to the side, and then you get all kinds of other features or whatever. That's my kind of dream. That's the watch that I think I'm going to be really fall in love with. Though, perhaps when I see the Pebble watch in person, and
you're going to freak out, and you're going to be really unhappy.
Nilay, you got one?
Yeah.
Right. Nilay, what color are you going to get?
Black.
You got black?
Just jet black.
Did you get one?
No, I found the story out by going to the Kickstarter page and realizing I can't donate.
By the way, it's rare that you get to talk to the creator of the back.
Yeah, that's exciting. Eric,
but hold on.
We were going to have Eric on the show.
It's rare that you get to talk to him and tell him that you didn't buy the product and hear firsthand the disappointment and I think a little anger actually.
Yeah. So Eric, I have like an opportunity. If you didn't get it, there's probably a few other people out there that didn't get it as well.
That's right. Well, no, I mean,
maybe there'll be some people for the next batch.
Oh, I think there'll be people for the next. I think there'll be people for the next batch.
So I have two questions. One from the listeners, which I think is hilarious. So I'll ask that second. my next question, which is a little question, is: Are you at all worried about like Apple kind of rejiggering the iPod Nano now that they've seen your success? Kind of rejiggering the Nano because they're already doing the watch stuff with it to make it connect with the iPhone. Does that concern you at all, or are you making your own product?
Possibility. Not super frightened. I think
he still has 85,000 orders.
Try it out.
Yeah, you've got $10 million. Like you're good, right?
Yeah.
I might be able to afford one with that.
Okay, and the second question, and this is from the listeners: Are you kind of mad that Samsung just released a product called the S Pebble? Because they did.
Oh, that's true.
It was just one of the colors, like one of the.
No, it's a little MP3 player called the S Pebble.
It's a square. It's a tiny little MP3 player that
syncs to the phone.
It's an accessory for the phone.
No,
it cannot tell time.
It syncs.
Like yesterday?
Yeah, no, it was when they announced the Galaxy S3. And it syncs to the phone.
I thought that was just a color.
No,
nope.
They said that one of the S3 colors was Pebble.
No, it's an accessory for it. And it's like a little square that you use to play. It controls.
It's an MP3 player.
Yeah. It controls the music on the phone.
It's an MP3 player that syncs to the phone.
I don't understand the point
nobody
of
understands
it. Nobody understands it, but it is in your space now. You better watch out.
I will Google this right now.
You may have heard of the small company Samsung. They're challenging you on the name Pebble. Well, their name is Pebble.
Cool.
It's Pebble.
Yeah.
No, don't say it looks cool.
Yeah,
you don't want to give anybody any. You don't want to give them any credit.
Samsung's lawyers listen to the Vergecast.
No, they do. They're listening right now.
I bet they do.
But Eric, listen. I'm sure you have champagne to drink over there and watches to manufacture. So we're gonna let you go. Watches to make. But we would love to have you come on the show. We do this, on The Verge, and we almost had you guys come on the last one, and it didn't work out. You don't have to tell me now, but hopefully we can make that happen because we'd love to talk to you and maybe see a prototype.
Yeah, and it would be cool to show you the UI as it progresses over the summer, and
that would be great.
That'd be awesome.
To go through the developer kit and everything.
That'd be great. Hey, if you want to come on, we have a show next week. May 17th.
Just start pimping it now.
You're welcome.
Just want to fly in?
I want to check it out. Yeah. Anyhow, but Eric, thank you so much. And we will definitely be talking to you soon. And I think we're all really excited about this.
Yeah.
I think what's cool about this is, we cover products all the time, and it's like they're all from big companies. And we just had Tony Fadell on the last show, and we were talking about how hard it is to create a hardware startup. And you guys have you're not only a hardware startup, but you're doing it in a way that is totally unorthodox and completely new, and I think really exciting because it's like your idea has been validated by the buying public before you've ever put rubber to road. So by the way, don't screw it up because otherwise no pressure, but just 85,000 people and $10 million riding on it. So anyhow, with that, Eric, good luck. We're really excited about it. And we can't wait to watch what you guys are doing. And anytime you want to talk, we're happy to do it.
Cool. Looking forward to it.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.